Hello! I'm going to demonstrate the process of setting up the Darwino sync database and plugins on your Domino server. There are two primary steps involved with this. One is installing a NSF on the server that acts as the sync administration database that stores data and provides configuration options. And the other is installing a set of OSGI plugins that will provide the servlet and scheduled tasks. So to begin with, I have my server here where I have copied the NTF, the Darwino syncadmin database. And first, to make sure that it will run properly, I'm going to sign the design. As my active user, this is a user that has the ability to run X pages on the server. Now that I've signed the design, I'm going to create a new database using that template. The title doesn't matter too much, but the name of the database should be darwinosync.nsf by default. This is configurable via a notes ini property, but it is all the easier to just use the default unless there's a specific reason not to. So I'm going to grab the syncadmin template from the server, create the database. Okay, so this should be all set. There's a fairly basic notes UI, but this is not the primary user interface of the database. Once that's created, the next step is to install the OSGI plugins on the server. This can be done in essentially the same way as the extension library if you've gone through that process. That can be installed on the file system in the server's data directory, but I tend to install it via an NSF-based update site. So here I've installed this. This is using the OpenNTF version of the template that has some additional features, but the stock one will do as well. I have set up this database and signed its design as well to ensure that the OSGI bundles will work. So I'm going to import local update site. This is the location of the update site that has come with the Darwino installation. So I'm going to point to its site.xml, open, import it. It will run through this process and import a number of the plugins, and it will sign them. And then once that's done, you should see two features listed in the update site. Now on the server, I will restart HTTP, and you can see that this is installing the NSF-based plugins as normal, and you should be able to tell if it works by starting to see some Darwino-related information. You can see that it's initializing a scheduled replicator, and it is initialized several stock database adapters. Once the Darwino plugins have been installed and the admin NSF is on the server, the next step is to visit it via a web browser. This is the home page of the admin database. The main interesting part at the moment is the database adapters view. A database adapter is the way to configure Darwino replication with Domino. Both Domino and Darwino are document databases, and Darwino's JSON format does not require a specific schema, but it is still useful to specify what type of data you expect during translation in order to make programming on the Darwino side easier. Additionally, these database adapters serve the point of pointing to a specific Domino database. So to do this, we start with new adapter definition. There are two fields on this form. The adapter name is the name of the Darwino application you're going to sync to. So, for example, there is the stock diskdb replicator, and that is used for the discussion database demo application. So here we're going to use a test team room database, so I will just call this test team room. And the second field is actually a field for the domain-specific language written on top of Groovy that will provide the definition for how the database is translated. There's only one required element, which is the name of the NSF. Beyond that, by default, the documents will be translated in a best attempt sort of way. So then if there's a text field on the Domino side, it will be translated over to a text field on the Darwino side. However, it is still useful to have a sort of schema for this. So to do this, there is a button to generate from database. What this does is it will present a dialog with a list of databases on the server. So here I'm going to find the test team room that I've set up. This is a stock team room from Domino 9, so there's nothing different about this design, and I will click Generate. This will create a basic schema based on the forms in the database. It will read the design of the forms and specify each of the fields on each form. These things, most of them are text fields, but otherwise it will say things like, for example, this is a date time, this is a multi-value text field, and so forth. So this is a way to tell Darwino how it should translate the data properly. So you can expect on your application side that when you have a date field, it is only going to be a single value text field. I'm going to save this, and then now the test team room replicator will be available on the server.